This is a weird blaster, even for me. First, a preface. When I found this blaster at Ollies, it was in the clearance section, which if you have been to an Ollies before, you know that that just means like the box is horribly damaged beyond all recognition, and that was assuredly the case here. I took some pictures of it. I don't even know why I took pictures of it. Like, the box was so heavily damaged, it was kind of funny. I was just curious to see if everything was inside of it, to be honest. This hamp-style firing a single rocket at a time style blaster is always just a weird type of Nerf blaster for me. Compounding the fact that I'm not even a Roblox player myself. I don't know much about Roblox at all. I have just dabbled in it the ever so slightest, and I quickly learned that it's just not for me. But clearly it's for a lot of people because it's a hugely popular game, and the sub-games within them also get very popular, which is where this one comes from. This is from the game Sharkbite. This is the Weblauncher, but it fires rockets. I don't know how that makes sense. I'll leave that up to you. Now, as I looked at the very damaged box, there was like one really interesting logo that I don't think I remember seeing on too many Nerf blasters. It's the Nerf Authentic logo. I'll have to go back and look to see what that's all about because honestly, I was a little surprised to see that. I mean, like, I've got another box here from the rival Mercury, and it doesn't say anything about being authentic Nerf. That must have just been a thing for a bit. Well, anyway, when I opened up the box, everything was complete. It even has a code for the Roblox Sharkbite web launcher, so you could get this item in the game to look exactly like the Nerf blaster, which is kind of cool. They've done that for a number of other things. They've done it for Destiny. They've done it for a bunch of other Roblox mini games. And they've also done it to a degree, I suppose, with Fortnite with the wraps. So, okay, yes, we got the code. We also have the blaster, and then we have two of these rockets. I kind of like this teal color on the rocket. I like seeing fun colored darts. These are fun colored darts. But to understand this blaster, you kind of have to understand a few things. One, you're never going to see a trigger on something like this because it wouldn't work. Like, the trigger wouldn't do anything. It would just be purely for cosmetics. The way that these blasters work is you put the dart in. I guess I should do that, right? Let's put the dart in, and we will load it up. We'll load it up here. You move this handle all the way out. So what you're doing is you're filling up the plunger tube with air. And when I slam it back as fast as I can, the dart will pop out, and it'll likely hit the door and hit me in the face. We'll find out what happens. Well, it almost hit me in the face. So an extremely simple blaster. I don't think this thing can jam. I don't think this thing can malfunction at all unless the seals on the plunger tube here get broken or wear or degrade. But that's a problem for far into the future, not if this thing is brand new or brand new-ish. True to Roblox form, this is a very blocky blaster. The only elements of design, or I guess rounded corners, are this web design on the barrel. Also, the grip is chunky, but it's more comfortable than this handle up here. So this at least contours your hand somewhat, whereas this, it's like holding on to a big giant Lego block. It is creaky. I don't know if you can hear that, but it does creak around a little bit, which is to be expected for a blaster that only slides. It's a sliding blaster. It needs to move freely, so it's not going to be the most stable, solid thing. If I just hold it like that, you can see it'll come down. Gravity works a lot on this thing. The other piece of the design is that the plastic is molded in a way that there are rough spots and then there are shiny spots, highlighting the web. It's almost like if you were to put a flashlight over a spider's web, you would see it kind of glisten or reflect some of the light. You get that sense here too. I'm guessing this is better texture work than things in Roblox, where everything seems very flat and mono solid color. So I do appreciate the elements of bringing in the web launching name onto the blaster, even though it does fire rockets. The other design element that to me is a little curious, I'm not sure why, is this handle right here. I'm not sure if this is a carrying handle. I'm not sure if it is part of how this blaster operates. I don't know if the air goes all the way around this way, but it seems like it would just be a little shorter to go that way. Yeah, I'm guessing it probably just does that. So either this is a design element from the game that they wanted to incorporate, or it is just kind of a fun carrying handle when you want to just run around with this thing. I showed you how the rocket works. I'm going to use the other rocket right here. I've got it, my table, and we will get this fired, and I will just give you my impressions of how this thing works. And there it is. We've seen this blaster before, back in the Nerf Elite days. I want to say it was called the Thunder Boom or something like that. It had this exact same setup where it was a single rocket, you would slam the plunger tube back, and then the air would carry it forward. The benefit that one had, though, is it had a stock attachment point where you could load the other rockets on it, so you could reload it easier. Whereas when we have something like this, don't have that luxury. We have to carry the rockets somewhere else, or we just carry one rocket at a time. And this is a rather large blaster to be doing that. I can imagine if you were using this in a Nerf battle, you would have to be reloading this often and be very strategic about where you put the rockets, because it would be very cumbersome to hold unless this were like a special weapon in the game that people would struggle to have control over. So the feel of this blaster, I mentioned it's a little creaky, but it also feels somewhat like a water blaster. So I think we all kind of know that there's a difference between like Super Soakers and the Nerf blasters. Super Soakers have a little more of a textured feel. The plastic feels maybe a little softer. I'm getting that sense in the handle down here. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe they're experimenting with other plastics. This blaster is a few years old already, so maybe this was just a test. Everything else about it feels pretty good. The inside of the barrel feels very Nerf-like. The safety orange web design here, again, very Nerf-like. But the grips on this feel very water blaster-esque. I don't know if that's very descriptive, but that's the best I can do at this time. Maybe this was supposed to originally be a water blaster, because it does make sense. If the game Sharkbite means what I think it does, like you're in the ocean or you're near some water trying to avoid a shark, it would probably make sense that this were a water blaster to start with, and then maybe they retroactively fit it to use some foam rockets. So I think the whole thing about this blaster, it hinges on how much you like Roblox, and this is something that I feel Nerf has done really well. They get all of these cool or very popular pop culture licenses, and then they adapt blasters or items from the game to fire foam darts of some kind. We've seen it with Fortnite, we've seen it with Minecraft, we've seen it with, I mean, what else? Destiny, Halo. The list can go on and on. Roblox was a big part of that. We only really saw one or maybe two waves of releases with this, and I want to say this is the only one that fires rockets. So at the time, if I'm thinking back when this was releasing, I think they were trying to aim like the Roblox stuff at younger kids, and then the Fortnite stuff, and then, you know, some of the pro stuff. It just seems like there was an effort to put different age groups in different blaster categories in terms of franchises and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, like the Roblox blasters, they are a unique bunch because you are working in a game with what seems like limited graphics, but essentially is its own aesthetic. It makes it difficult to build blasters around it. Here's the thing, Roblox is not for me. I am very aware of the fact that this blaster wasn't designed with me in mind. However, there are certain things about it that make it less functional than blasters that are comparable to it. Namely, the fact that you can only carry one rocket at a time on this thing when it comes with two. It's great that it comes with two, but the fact that I have to, like, I don't know, put it in my pocket or something like that is unfortunate because we have seen blasters in Nerf already handle for this. Now, this is where licensing gets tricky, is because maybe they had a solution for it, but the licensor didn't approve it, or maybe they just wanted to have really high fidelity to the item in the game, and that just made it not possible to include some new design elements. There's a number of reasons why this stuff gets made the way it's made. And when I look at some of the older blasters that do the exact same thing as this Weblauncher, it's hard for me to say that this is like a really cool blaster. I think it looks unique. I think it captures the essence of Roblox very well. However, I wouldn't say that it is one of my favorite things to use. I feel like it's just too large and too narrowly focused in what it does to be any lasting fun. But I am not just somebody who enjoys a game of Nerf in the backyard. I'm somebody who also collects. That is where the Roblox stuff kind of shines. The fact that it comes with a digital collector code for an item that looks like the Nerf blaster you just bought in the game. So the item from the game brought into Nerf, you can then bring from Nerf back into the game. And that it does have some continuity from the item in the game to the physical product that I'm holding, even if it's uncomfortable, is a cool feature. While on one hand I feel like the actual use of this is limited, the other hand I feel like the collectability of this is kind of neat. And I'm guessing the collectability would go through the roof even more had I been somebody really into Roblox. But if we have to weigh those two sides, I think the way that it's very limited weighs heavier on it than the collectability and like the pop culture-ness of the blaster. I wasn't expecting a blaster in a box that was entirely crunched up so that I got a couple extra bucks off it to bring up so many interesting questions in my mind. I mean, ultimately this one isn't for me, but I do like the rockets, I like the color of the rockets, and I appreciate some of the design elements, as well as the digital code that goes back into Roblox. So let me know. What do you feel like were some of the best Roblox blasters that came from the Nerf collaboration? You gotta leave that in the comment section. And if you wanna keep talking about blasters, if you wanna talk about pop culture, collectibles, and action figures, you gotta hit that subscribe button to stay tuned to the Ri-Fi channel. So that's all I know about this Nerf Roblox Sharkbite web launcher, again that fires rockets. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.